It's a warm, sunny spring day. You and your childhood friends have been running barefoot through the creek for hours, skipping rock after rock after rock. You carefully select each one, looking for the perfect, round, flat rock that will skip 4 or 5 jumps in a row. In these shallow waters, although you did not have a care in the world, you may have stumbled upon one of nature's most peculiar creatures, Nokomis leptocephalus, the bluehead chub. Like your childhood self, the bluehead chub spends a lot of time looking for the perfect rock, although it is not for skipping. It will search for a small, circular or ovular stone in order to build a nest that is vital to many species in its environment. Let's take a closer look at this species. The bluehead chub is a member of the family Cyprinidae. Its name comes from its appearance. During mating season, the males have a characteristically blue head. The chub's greatest contribution to society is that it helps preserve the biodiversity in freshwater streams and rivers. Many species of minnow will only spawn on its clean, smooth soil, which is becoming increasingly scarce. However, the chub's nest is a perfect substitution that also provides protection from predators. Without the chub, these species would be hindered in their survival.
I study fish biodiversity, describe new species, figure out how they're related to one another, particularly minnows and their relatives, or the Cypriniformes, and South American catfishes that are in a family Lorcreidae, the sucker-mouthed armored catfishes.
The bluehead chub resides in the rather shallow waters of creeks and small rivers in temperatures of 15 to 20 degrees Celsius.
I've observed the bluehead chub in Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina, but they're native to rivers ranging from Louisiana all the way up the coast to Virginia. I've pretty much observed them across the entire state of Alabama except for like the Tennessee River drainage up north and the Gulf Coast drainages like the Escambia, the Yellow River, and the Blackwater River.
We went out in the field to try to observe this species for ourselves. With our experts, we went to a tributary of Holowaki Creek in Lee County, Auburn, Alabama. It was a beautiful sunny day, and a lot of different species were active in the water. We were able to see some other relatives of Nokomis leptocephalus, including the long-jawed minnow, orange-jawed minnow, and an undescribed species of chub.
So the bluehead chub builds a mound nest, so it gathers small pebbles from the stream and builds them up into a mound, which can be a foot or two or higher and 6 feet in diameter. So we're talking a little 6-inch fish building a 2-foot tall pyramid basically. And what it does is it spawns on the anterior side, or the upstream side of that mound, builds a little pit there, and lays. The females come in and lay her eggs inside of that pit. He covers them up and kind of builds the pit downstream as it goes along.
More sand will be clean. And it'll usually be kind of, I would say it'd be like a water probably about that deep maybe here, with like flow going over it.
Perfect, yeah.
So.
After the male is done nest building, the female will then lay her eggs on the nest. Soon, the eggs are joined by many others. Is there a difference between the nesting season and the mating season when they're spawning?
Generally, no. Usually they build the nest immediately before they spawn, so as soon as they're done the nest, or I guess while they're in the process of the nest, if they are able to entice a female in, they will go ahead and mate.
There are many different types of minnows that are called nest associates. So they don't build a nest themselves, but spawn over these chub nests. And we weren't really sure whether or not this was a beneficial relationship for the chubs or not. And it looks like there may be situations where nest builders gain benefits from the nest associates and sometimes where they don't. The thought is that the benefit would be that, imagine the chubs lay 200 eggs. You have 200 species, 200 other minnows that also lay 200 eggs on top of your nest. So if a predator comes in, there's a dilution effect, and your own eggs would be less likely to be consumed. So that's the possible benefit from it. The possible problem with it is that the nest associates have been observed to be eating eggs out of the nest and could potentially be a nest predator.
So this was a breeding bluehead chub. As you can see, he's got scars from where he had tubercles. So during breeding season, they will get these big horny protuberances that are kind of sharp and pokey on the top of their head. Their head will usually swell up. And during breeding season, it's a bright like sky blue, so it's actually really pretty. But after they spawn, those tubercles basically just shed off, kind of like scabby or something like that. So.
What's the difference in age between those two?
Oh gosh, a year or two probably. Yeah. Yeah, usually based on size, you can go. This is another male. That's all right. But you can see the difference in how big the head gets between the two. Like, the bigger they get, the more swollen as they become more reproductive, you know. And they'll get big humpy heads on some of the species, the different species of Nokomis. So.
Their bodies are between 7 to 16 centimeters in length and are covered in large scales. They have a large mouth for consuming insects and plants, as well as for, of course, picking up rocks. As you can see, the bluehead chub is a very important member of its ecosystem, and many different species depend on it for survival. The next time you're out skipping rocks, take a closer look in the water around you and see if you're lucky enough to stumble upon this mysterious creature. If you'd like to find out more information on the bluehead chub or other key species in the state of Alabama, be sure to visit the Auburn University Museum of Natural History.